Been a while. Hello, how's it going? Welcome to Heart, where we talk about games, movies, animes, young and old. Today, we're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the newest addition to Marvel, whatever, newest addition to the Guardians trilogy. Now, me, along with many other people, very tired of Marvel. I haven't even bothered doing any reviews for the last few movies or shows or anything because I haven't really liked anything basically since Moon Knight. Like, I thought Moon Knight was really cool. I don't even know. There's just so much stuff. There is one thing I want to say though. I saw someone on Twitter say that Rocket Raccoon's performance is just as good as Caesar in the Planet of the Apes movies. And that set a very high bar in my head. And yeah, no, that person's on actual crack. That's just no. Not saying it wasn't good, but no. But this one, I was pleasantly surprised. It was really good. I had a lot of fun and I cried multiple times. Near the ending, as soon as those floodgates open, there were so many moments that hit like the emotional beats perfectly. Something that I really liked was actually the advertising. It doesn't happen the way you'd think it would happen. Like the movie, how the trailers were cut are not in the same order as the movie goes, which is good. A lot of times they do it like that and then the movie becomes pretty predictable. It was good. It helped to subvert expectations, I thought, because you would expect certain things to happen and they really didn't go that way without spoiling anything. But there were a couple parts in the trailer where it did give away some key moments, just straight up. It gave away some key emotional moments that could have had a lot more emotional grab if they weren't in the trailers. That's also something to keep in mind. The way, I know the camera, it's like, say the camera work was really good, isn't really fair because a lot of it's just digital anyways. God, the way it was shot was really cool. They had so many cool shots and it was just very creative with how they moved things. And I don't know, there's a lot of like, when they were talking, there's a lot of like whips, like a whip to this person, then whip over to that person. And like, it was a very good movie in a technical aspect for those reasons. I thought it was really cool the whole time. I'm like, oh, that's so cool how they showed that. Or there's a scene where a kid running in a hamster wheel. This is going to sound crazy out of context. There's a kid running in a hamster wheel and the camera is turning as the kid is running. So the whole time you're rolling like that. And I thought like that was very creative. It's like almost a very similar shot to like in Black Panther when I think it's the throne is on the top of the screen or something. And then it does a whole something like that. But I don't know, similar to that, except there was a lot more movement in the shot. My friend said, I'm going to pull this out. My friend from school, Maddie, I'd been talking about this movie on Twitter and he had like recommended that I go see it. He thought that it'd be worthwhile to see. So when I told him that I saw it, he said, best written characters currently in the MCU. And I would have to agree on that pretty hard. And I think what I said in these little bit of messages here, I'm going to repeat because I thought they were really good. Anytime Rocket was on screen was good. His parts were for sure the best things about the movie. And then I said that I would have to agree. I think the journey the Guardians have gone on is extremely emotional through and through. And there's so much growth. A series that actually grew with its audience, very happily surprised. Because it really did. Like, if you're someone who's seen those movies in theaters, I have, which I have. So, or if you've seen them, you really like them. Be kind of on this journey with those characters. I think that those three movies alone in the MCU are their own thing. The movies grew with their audience, I think, is a perfect way of explaining it. There's a couple of really awesome action scenes. And even in that one, it's like a hallway scene. And the camera is like turning the whole time. And everyone's getting their little chance of spotlight while they're flipping over each other, doing whatever. And the camera's doing all these things. It's like a guy gets a hole blown in his stomach and it goes through there. Like there's just a lot of creative movement. I thought it was so cool. Even though it's weird to say like the camera work was good because it's digital camera work. So I don't really know how to say that. You know what I mean? But the camera work was awesome. The shot placement was awesome. Like the vision there, I thought was awesome. It was so cool. I gotta give it praise for that. What's with all the Beastie Boys? It's driving me crazy. I almost thought it was a joke at first. You know, with the Guardians, you have exceptions because I love the way that they use music in those movies because it really helps with better development for the main character, for Star-Lord, which is awesome. I didn't love all the music choices, but the ones that hit hard. They were on the nose, I thought. But that Beastie Boys one, I was like, what the heck? It took me out of it. I'm like, what? Those are the Beastie Boys, I love the Beastie Boys, but I just don't want to see them in every movie all the time. They're in so many movies. It's so weird. But I love them. So it's this, you know what I mean? It's so weird because I love them. I want to see them, but I also was like, why is this happening right now? Another thing that's huge is the way animals are portrayed, the way they go about animal cruelty, animal experimentation, very heavy in that. That's why it's very heavy tearjerker. You get into the big backstory of Rocket Raccoon. You could even say he's like the main character in the movie, honestly. But seeing what the main villain, who is just so hateable. I love how hateable he was. They just made him so hateable. He basically had no like redeeming qualities, because a lot of times they like Marvel goes with that angle where like the villain is, you know, they're like questionable. You're like, oh, I kind of agree somewhat, whatever. But no, not this one. I said no, I don't like this guy. And then when they beat the shit out of that guy, it was so satisfying. It was so satisfying. But when they show you the reasons why to hate him, wow, that guy does some wild shit to animals. It is insane. Not that it was hard to watch, but geez, it's just, that movie was very emotional in more ways than just animals. A couple, you know, goodbyes. There are, you know, it is the end of their trilogy. I don't think they'll do another Guardians movie unless for money, but I personally am like, that's probably it. Maybe another director will take on another Guardian, so to say, but that is done now, and was made very clear throughout the whole movie. The way they go about Gamora, like she gets all, you know, throughout Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, her character gets like killed off and then brought back, and it's not really her, and Peter Quill's all confused what's going on, and the way they dealt with that and went about her, I thought was really good. Groot is basically Vin Diesel now. Like, he just looks like him now. He's built like him now. It's pretty jokes. I think his design in this movie is great. There's not much to go, like, he's just cool. Not much to go off about. He did what he needed to do. I am Groot. I'm a sucker for Drax. I really like that character. He had some very high points in the movie, and not only does he get you with just those because he's dumb, but the bit for him does not run dry in this movie. I didn't think, you know, there's other parts that, you know, whatever, just the typical Marvel stuff, but I think they do very well with Drax in the Guardians movies. Oh, Nebula is so good. Love that character. That actress does such a good job with that. I really do think like every character, just like all the characters are so good in this movie. Star-Lord does a good job. Like, everyone has their moment to shine. I thought Adam Warlock was pretty good. He's not in it that much. Was Adam Warlock wasted? Was he not? I remember when, you know, they teased him in the one after credits or whatever, and I really did think he'd be more, but the way they went about it was kind of like the way you wanted. Because I do think by the end of this movie, one of the main differences with all these other newer Marvel ones is that I actually cared in the end. I cared about the characters. I cared about Adam Warlock. Like, I cared about what was going to happen to Gamora. Like, I cared so much about all these characters, and so when you see it coming to an end and everything's kind of, everyone's kind of tipping their cap, you know, doing their thing, it's a little emotional. It's sad. Like, the back half of that movie is definitely sad. The whole movie in general, I really thought was pretty good. I don't have many complaints. I think I've knocked off a couple of them. You know, the thing about Marvel movies that I always drive me crazy is they're just so predictable. They're so right by the books. They're really, really, really running it dry right now. But I think that in however many years to come, when people look back at Marvel in general, like this, like Guardians of the Galaxy in general, but I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 will definitely stand out. And especially in this phase 4, phase 5, whatever, this movie will definitely be on the top of people's list for like what was good. Because this, and even in the MCU in general, like this was a very good movie. It had a lot of depth, and I think that's very important, especially in a Marvel movie where a lot of them like got nothing, man. I'm noticing I've talked for like 15 minutes now, and that's a considerable amount for a Marvel movie. But I was surprised in a way. I like to be really critical on these movies because there's no reason why Marvel movies should be bad, why they should look bad, why the visuals should be bad, why the writing should be bad. No reason. And yet somehow they do it over and over and over again. But this one, they didn't. Okay. No, I want to give this movie an 8 out of 10, but for fun, I'm going to give it like an 82. An 82 out of 10. 82%. Because I really liked all the camera work and stuff. I thought that shit was cool. The way they went about, you know, moving the camera, showing the shots, showing what was going on screen, character placement, stuff like that. I thought was really cool. I really like that. So for that reason, let's go with 82%. That's looking like a full health bar to me, 82% wise. So it's pretty close to being full. I don't fucking know. It's admittedly refreshing to have a good Marvel movie again. That's what I'll say for sure. I got more videos and reviews where that came from. We got a nice God of War video. I got an Elden Ring randomizer going on. Reviewed Trigun Stampede, My Hero Academia, Cocaine Bear, and more. Just Jacob. And until next time, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. We'll see y'all later. Thanks for clicking on my video out of all the other ones on the internet. And happy Zelda week. Bye.